The Chiefs put on the pads on Friday, got down to business, and started hitting the snot out of each other. How did it go? Let's break it down. Welcome back, everybody. This is RGR Football. I'm Ryan going rogue. Like and sub and do that thing. The Chiefs put on the pads and started hitting today. And that's where you see things change. It ramps it up a little bit. And I just want to ask right now, Coach, what's the difference between you and the Raiders?
Yeah, I'd probably say not. We don't spend a lot of time here with puppets, so we try to do our work and try to get better,
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. And I think you're absolutely right. So a fun day out at camp. The pads came on. A lot of competition ramps up. And you got to take the takeaways as they come. There are a number of guys. We're going to talk about the defense. Joshua Williams stood out today. We're going to talk about how that battle comes around and what the running back situation looks like. Some changes there. We're going to start right here at the left tackle spot because that is the number one, I think, evolution that we're trying to watch. Today, it flipped back. The swinging pendulum went back the other direction. Kingsley Suamataia got the start with the ones today when the pads come on. And you can ask people around the league, it makes a difference. I know when we're trying to get something done and you're trying to emulate what actual action is going to be like, the guys who get the first reps together as a group with the pads on makes a difference. You can ask old linemen. It's my experience as well, but even Jeff Schwartz chimed in on it. It tells you where that battle is. Now, that doesn't mean that it's said and done, but it does mean that when they want to get a look at how it's really going to be come preseason, come regular season, come postseason, they want to get a look first at Kingsley Suamataia. And that's come a long ways from where it was a few days ago when you saw Wanya Morris with the starters. What does that mean? Well, they both had a little bit of struggles as young players. They're both going to when it came to the pass rush. I think the difference for me is that Wanya Morris struggled with Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who, good for him, Felix came on the go, was improving, showed better spin, better, I think, ability to duck and change his pad level, get underneath the block. And you saw him beat Wanya Morris consistently if you were out there in the one-on-ones. Now, it didn't necessarily translate to the team sessions, but the one-on-ones do give you some insight into how you can attack somebody. On the flip side, Kingsley Suamataia got beat once out of two specific reps that I watched, and that's fine, but he was facing a much more experienced and, at this point, a much more developed pass rusher in Mike Dana. Mike was able to get underneath him, get around on the first rep. The second, Kingsley was able to adjust, and that's really the step that I'm looking for. With all the pads on and with a pass rusher coming at you going full speed, what can you do? How do you up your game, adjust, and adapt and overcome? And that's what I saw Kingsley Suamataia do today. I feel good about my pre-camp prediction that it will be Kingsley Suamataia in the end that ends up the starter for this season. Doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. And I do expect we're probably going to see some back and forth because from the Chiefs' point of view, from the coaching staff's point of view, they got to dig down as much as they possibly can into each aspect of that battle before they choose their starter. I know what I think is going to happen. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I appreciate you. If you're new to me and my channel, my guys, make sure that you join us here by clicking the sub. And if you want to get into the memberships, we have some extra content that comes out all the time. You'll have my takeaways on some of these plays in there here real soon. Now, moving on. The defensive backfield is one that's been in flux quite a bit. Luckily for the Chiefs, they got Najee Johnson back today. He had a scare there on the surgically repaired right knee that was the ACL from last year that kept him out. Looks like he was back in a full go. And when it was a base package where he had two corners on the field, he was opposite Trent McDuffie. That is a big, big sign because Joshua Williams has been running there for the last few days, even before the injury to Najee. So that's a change. You got some good reps. I don't think that he got the volume necessarily. I don't think they were guarding it. He looked like he was good to go, but I think volume-wise, he fell off just a little bit, but he looked solid from what I saw. The guy who stepped up and is making more plays was Joshua Williams. Got back. He had a down day or two, but with the pads come up, he responded. And I think Joshua Williams is pushing for that role. The reason that that's critically important is because what they did also in the secondary today was a departure from what they've been doing. Trent McDuffie has been outside all camp until they put the pads on today. Today, he split his reps roughly between nickel and outside. I think that's directly because of the injury to Justin Reed. And I think the timeline might be elongating there before Justin's going to be able to be back. Got to make sure that you have your probably easily most experienced, probably your best safety has to be 100% before you let him back in. There's no reason to rush Justin Reed back. But in the meantime, you got to make some shifts. You got to make sure that you pull at least part-time Chamari Connor out of the nickel and put him back at his safety spot. I think that's what they were doing today to try to get that done in order to see what else they can do and how they can flip their configurations. Now that takes, at least in the base nickel there, when you have a nickel corner, it takes it to a 2 safety set, which brings Jaden Hicks off of the field. That's okay for now. Rookie's going to have to be off the field for a bit. I think what you've seen is he's adapting, but they're forcing him to play high more than I think they want to. And so this gives them another option and a way to not force him into a position that maybe isn't his strength, especially as a rookie. So that all works out. So keep an eye on that battle, including Miles' battle, who laid out Kadarius Toney today. One of my favorite things to be able to say right now. So kudos to Miles' battle. He's got the size, and I'm really intrigued as to what he's going to bring. Now, the next thing that went on is, I think, something a lot of folks don't realize, because, yes, we want to see the run game flourish. We're excited about LRZ, and he got a couple of good carries. Wasn't able to power through a lot of it. Not really his game, I'm guessing, at this point. Maybe he can grow into that, but got hit in the backfield a couple times, was able to keep moving, but didn't gain much ground. Not a power player at this point. I see him as an explosive downfield cut and go kind of guy, and that's perfectly fine, because right now they're not relying on him to be a backup. The guy they are relying on is not Clyde Edwards-Helaire, at least not today on the first day of pads. It was Deneric Prince. I talked to you before we got to this point in my pre-camp prediction for the 53-man roster, and I have Prince on it. I had him as the third, with Clyde being the primary guy that would sub in for Isaiah Pacheco. That may be shifting. So what I originally thought was Isaiah, Clyde, Deneric, then LRZ. I did have LRZ on there, and I have a soft spot for the fullbacks. If you guys don't know me yet, I have a soft spot for fullbacks. So nice to see all you new folks. Carson Steele, from everything that I've been able to gather from eyes that I trust, is doing just fine. They're just not giving him a lot of touches at this point. Looks good and natural. Catching the ball, that's certainly important. And I think that will come in more into play as we go through camp, because that's where his role has to evolve. That's okay. Now, in the pass catching department, it was Mahomes to Xavier Worthy, who was back out there today. Now, a couple of nice defensive plays thwarted a couple of deep passes to Worthy, but you can tell they're continuing to push downfield. And with Worthy back out there, apparently over the strep throat, I think that's a great position for him to be in. So look forward to that, and I hope that continues and there's no relapse here. Look for more of it tomorrow. Once they get adjusted to the pads, I think the offense is going to have a better day on Saturday than they did on Friday. Let's see what happens. But wasn't the only pass catcher out there. The big play of the day came from Justin Ross on a just jump ball pass in the corner of the end zone from Carson Wentz, something that both of them are more apt and more experienced at doing than Patrick Mahomes is. He doesn't generally just throw it up and let the receivers go get it, but that's something that Wentz has done throughout his career, and it's something that Ross needs to do, because that is his absolute best aspect when he's bringing in something into the offense. So as that goes forward, look for maybe that's be something to come on. Now, unfortunately, with Justin Watson out, we understand he's not going to miss a ton of time, but he will be back in the mix. It was spread out. A little bit more reps for KT, a little bit more reps for Sky Moore, for Nico Remigio. Unfortunately, Remigio was in on one play that went sour as there was a punch out. And you got to watch those plays as well. So keep an eye out for what happens tomorrow in a little bit bounce back for the receiver group on day 2. And I'm really looking forward to that. We hit on the pass rush. One guy that you need to watch if you're going out there now is Fabian Lovett. Pushing the pocket, not necessarily breaking through and ripping out yet, but he will get there. I think that he is a guy that's still on the way up. And as he acclimates to the pads, I think that's his friend, and he'll be doing even better What do you think? Leave your comments down below. Leave your observations if you were at camp as well. Love to hear what you guys saw that maybe I missed. And I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure we cover this team backwards and forwards all the time. Like, sub, hit the bell, join the memberships if you want that much more. Get the gear in the store. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to as well. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.